Hello, everyone. I am on and trying this at a little different angle. So if you're on the line, let me know and let me know that if you can hear me okay. That would be great. I'd appreciate that. And okay, just waiting for a comment here or two and to let me know if this picture is all right. If you do hear me and if the picture is okay, because I'm experimenting a little bit here. So just want to see if you can hear me and if you're seeing me okay. Okay. Seeing me okay as well? Sound is good. Thank you, funny girl. I appreciate that. And am I in the, because I'm doing horizontal rather than vertical today. So picture's good. Okay, perfect, perfect. Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate that. So welcome back. Excited for our second day. Have some really great topics to talk about today. So just again, kind of a recap. If anybody's new on here, just to let you know that this is the FeelFab 3R Protocol mini course. My name is Patricia Cordova, and I'm the founder of Feel Fabulous Nutrition. This is the protocol that I use in my program with the women that I serve. And my goal really is to empower women who have had decades of struggling with weight, body issues, to really help them release all of that, go to the second half of their life full of energy, vitality, and feeling fabulous about themselves, about their body, about their health, and moving forward to that part of their life. So that's my goal, and I'm just going through a mini course to cover some of the key components of what I do when I'm coaching. I have a hybrid group course that I work with women, and the different phases that I go through with them that are the key components of the 9-week course. So that's what this mini course is all about. So yesterday, just kind of a little bit of a recap on yesterday. What we really talked about was the first R of the 3R protocol, and that R is relaxing. And relaxing while taking action, actually. So we're doing two things, but the key is that we do have a sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems, very scientifically in our bodies, and it is affected how, if we're in a fight or flight, which is sympathetic, then we are constantly in that mode, stress mode. It releases hormones that affect us, and that's going to affect everything in our lives. Of course, here we're talking a little bit more on the health and nutritional and body end of things. So we're talking a little bit specifically to that. But if you're in that stress state, even if you're eating healthy foods and trying to do the right things, you can potentially be blocking yourself from losing some weight that you may want to lose, or just having everything in your body work as it should be working, your digestive system. So you have lots of complaints, maybe bloating, gassing, things like that. So if you don't want to be in a sympathetic nervous system mode, especially when you're having your meals. And so one of the first keys is to get into your parasympathetic, to be relaxed, take a breath, start your health and weight journey in a positive vein that you're excited about, that you're curious about. How can the second half of my life really be more dynamic, and I can be more in tune with my body moving forward in the second half of my life? And the first key is relax. Doesn't matter what your past is, where you've been. You may have health issues that are very serious on the table. understand that, not trying to in any way act like that isn't something that's important. But if you approach that health concern with stress and anxiety and fear, then you're not going to help that. It's not going to be helped. But if you relax, you take a breath, you say, okay, I am going to conquer this. I'm going to move forward. And you turn into a parasympathetic. Not only can you digest your food and assimilate things better, but you also, in every area of your life, it will affect how your body and the chemicals and hormones in your body will respond. So that's what our goal is. The second part of relaxing was really the power of slowing down. It sounds so simple, but it's actually, if you're a fast eater to begin with, normally statistically, I should say, a lot of people who do have weight to lose, they're a little bit, they're fast eaters. And fast eaters tend to be unconscious eaters. So if you can slow down, even if you say, well, I only have 15 minutes to eat, take those 15 minutes fully and really slow down. Pay attention to your food. What does it look like? What does it smell like? What are the colors? Take a picture. Be happy with that and slow down. When you do that, you are triggering that parasympathetic nervous system to kick in, and you will digest your food better. And even if you're eating food that isn't optimum, it's been scientifically proven that even if you're slowly eating, if you're chewing your food well, you're relaxing, you're letting the food just go in, you'll have a more natural response to that food, and your digestive system will work better. Everything will start to work better for you. So slowing down while you're eating, if the rest of your life is crazy hectic, at least those 3 times a day or so that you will be eating, take that time for that. Relax. Don't let anything else get in the way. And that will be a huge difference you'll find, especially if you have digestive issues. That will be a big key. And then the next thing we talked about last night was really just starting from a clean slate. In other words, if you're like me and you've had decades and decades worth of food and body issues, weight issues, dieting constantly, or dieting, then giving up and then trying another one and doing another one, and try this one, try that one, try exercising. If you have that kind of a history and you've been doing that for years, I mean, I've been doing that for decades. I started when I was 12. Last night I did tell my story, and you can go back and watch the video from last night if you're interested. But so, if you've had decades of that, and then if you're starting this program with the attitude of, oh, well, let me just try this, here we go again, it's not going to work. Just don't even start, really. And I know that might sound a little harsh, but it's really the truth. You want to start from a clean slate. Okay, let's pretend this is the first protocol that I've ever gone on in my life. And you know what? This is the first one, because you've never been on my protocol before. So this is the first one. And just relax and just say, okay, I'm going in with a clean slate. I'm going to be curious how this is going to work and the things I need to do. I'm going to give it my best shot. And when you do that, not only will you be relaxed in that, but you'll be able to move forward and you'll be able to enjoy the journey. I call it the journey, okay, of transformation to really eventually become free from all of the drama around your food, body, health issues. Okay. And then the last thing we talked about last night was really just taking a non-judgmental look at where you are now. And you might say, well, I know where I am, but I mean, really, just really take the time and in very much a non-judgmental way. Where am I now? Do I have some physical problems? I mean, has a doctor said you're pre-diabetic, or you're on the verge of high blood pressure, or you have potential this, that? I mean, obviously there's a lot of things that as we get older, that our bodies, especially if we have not treated our body, not necessarily because we didn't want to, but maybe we didn't know how. We didn't treat our bodies in the best ways. So after years and years and years, finally our body's getting fatigued and it's saying, I'm not putting up with this anymore. And you start to get the aches, the pains, the arthritis things comes in, and other issues. So if you just take a non-judgmental look, where really am I right now? Do I have some weight to lose to get to my natural weight? It doesn't matter so much what the number is, but it's more of, yeah, I've got quite a bit of weight to lose. I know I do. Okay, fine. Perfect. Do you have a health issue? Yes, or aches of pain. Yeah, my feet are achy. I get a lot of joint aches. Whatever your situation is. I don't want to put something on you if it's not there, but whatever things are coming up for you, where are you right now? What is that situation? What's my food? What type of things am I eating? Am I eating out am I grabbing things because I don't really plan? And again, non-judgmental, very key here. It doesn't matter if you're eating nothing all day long and you're eating late at night. Fine. That's what you're doing. Perfect. Okay, great. Whatever you're doing, there's usually a reason behind it. There is a reason why you're doing that. So not a problem. Just take a look at it and write it down. And the writing it down tends to bring clarity. So if you write that down and say, yes, I'm doing this, I feel this is where the situation I am, and take a look there. And this is all being done in a relaxed state. So those were the things we talked about last night. And now tonight, what we're going to talk about tonight is really about releasing. The second R of my protocol is releasing. And really what we want to release is we want to release toxins. Now, these toxins that we want to release are going to be toxins from our minds, our body, and our environment. So 3 different areas that we want to take a look at. And there's a lot of them. I've chosen some of the ones that I feel are the key ones that we talk a lot about in the protocol. So those are going to be the ones that I'm going to go through tonight with you. So as far as the toxins, when I say the toxins in our minds, is that our minds, there's a lot of kind of a school of thought that I heard something very interesting recently, that there's a saying that we are what we think. Okay. And but then a little twist on that is really that we're not necessarily we are what we think, but we are what we believe. And usually our thought patterns revolve around really what those beliefs are. So one of the top things, if you're feeling stuck, like a lot of times when people reach a certain point, and like I mentioned, you've probably you've had a long food story and body story because you're a mature, seasoned woman. And so we accumulate things, what I call them toxins. Some of them are real toxins, like physical toxins, but some of them are mental toxins that keep us stuck in the same place. And so one of the key things to get unstuck, to move forward, is to release these toxins. So some of the toxic beliefs that a lot of people have when it comes around weight and body image and dieting and health, those type of things, is the toxic beliefs that food and sometimes fat, I'm kind of put fat and food in the same category, that food is really your enemy. Because you've been dieting for so long, trying to lose weight for many, many years, looking at yourself in the mirror saying, oh, I hate this, I hate that. And food and sometimes fat is the enemy. So if you have that belief, and that's what's going on, that again is causing stress. Your body is holding on to that. Anytime you're looking at food, you go to eat something. Maybe it's your favorite food in the world. I don't know. Cheesecake. That's one of my favorites. Okay. So, and instead of really enjoying that, you're sitting there looking at it saying, oh my God, like, yeah, I'm going to eat this because I really want it and I really love it, but I shouldn't be eating this. Like, oh, I'm going to get sick from this. I'm going to gain weight from this. And food becomes the enemy. It's you against the food. So that is a toxic belief that many of us kind of carry, and we don't really think about it. It's just there. And it could have been there from childhood. And actually, many times it is there from childhood. And actually, the seed was planted in childhood or early years, maybe early teenager, childhood years, that the food was the enemy. So if that is one of your beliefs, then we want to release that belief. Food is your friend. Food can heal you. Food, it's scientifically, we're in such an exciting time, and this is going to be a little aside, but we're in such a beautiful time in the nutrition world because we now have so many tools and ways to measure what some of our ancestors knew instinctively. So a lot of our ancestors, the way we used to eat before we became before this maybe last 100 years, we had so much more intuition and insight into what would heal. There was so many medicines made from food and from herbs and spices and all those type of things that kept our bodies in wonderful shape. We don't have the epidemic of issues that we're having now. So food is really, it is a gift. And obviously we all have different beliefs about this life, but I mean, it is a gift from the universe as far as I'm concerned. It's here to keep us alive. It is not our enemy. And if there's foods or things, if we start to listen to our body more, our body will let us know if there is a problem, with something that we're eating or an issue, if we tune in to what our body's telling us. So food is our absolute friend. It is given grace for us. I'm just going to grab a quick drink of water here. Excuse me one second. Thank you. Water, good for you, right? So if you have that belief that food's the enemy or fat is the enemy, that, oh, I can't eat anything that's fat. If I eat fat, I'll get fat. Another old belief that is now the scientists, I mean, there's so many scientific articles on that now, but we're gonna have a little caveat to that a little later. I'm gonna talk about the right kind of fats are totally your friends. Fat is not your enemy. No food is your enemy. So we want to shift that belief. And that's what we work on, in my protocol calls, is to shift that belief. But just bringing it to the surface, being aware that you have the belief, that will start to shift the belief. Because if you say, well, wait a minute, this is not my enemy. I have no reason to be afraid. Food is very neutral. There's no evil strawberry on this planet. Even a McDonald's is not an evil enemy of ours coming to get us, okay? So we have choices. Food is not your enemy. One of the second beliefs that I feel like keep us stuck when we're trying to move forward in our weight and body journey here in our health. To me, it's just a health journey, but I'm kind of, trying to frame it for some of you that don't know all of my philosophies yet. So, but in our health journey here, the other belief is that something's wrong with me. I need to be fixed. I'm broken because I have spent years struggling to have the body that I've desired, or to have a natural weight, or to not be stressed out around food. And what's wrong with me? Why can other people seem to lose weight and be the way that they want to be? So I'm broken. I can't do this. And there's that underlying belief that there's got to be something wrong with me. Get it out. Like, we're kicking that to the door right now. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you. We all have individual bodies. Our bodies react differently to foods, to environments. We live in a world here in America anyways. Not sure if people in other countries, I actually love going to Europe. Their food quality, at least where I've visited, is a lot higher than here in America. So, but there's nothing wrong with you. There are so many reasons, and this isn't to put blame, because we don't blame here in our community, but there are so many reasons. The food that we're consuming now, the packaged food, our lifestyles, everything is contributing to our bodies getting stuck and not being able to move forward. So if that's a belief of yours, that you just feel like it's something with you, no, there's nothing wrong with you. You don't need to be fixed. You are wonderful. You're a great person. Just as you are, fabulous today, right now. I don't care what you weigh, all your little things that maybe you want to change. There's nothing wrong with having a desire to change things, but you are a beautiful person right now, right today, and your body is serving you. You're here, you're alive, your body is serving you. So we'll tweak, we'll be curious, we'll find those things and help you get unstuck. So there's nothing wrong with you. So that's another big one that we'll work on a little bit if that becomes a problem. And then one of the other ones is that if I find the perfect diet and I just find that diet, everything's going to be perfect. Well, I'd like to say that there really is no perfect diet. You're going to find your own diet. You're going to find what works for you, for your body. And when you find that, it will always be tweaked, because our body doesn't stay the same for years on end. We're not just this one, it's constantly evolving. You may move to a different region and your body starts to act differently, feel differently. So at different points in our life, we have to make adjustments. So to try to say, I'm going to find that one perfect diet, okay, this is it, and I'm going to stay on this diet forever, it doesn't work. And if you just look at the statistics, why do so many people start diets and they may lose a little bit of weight and then they go off of it? Like, oh, I tried this. I tried the keto. I tried low carb. I tried low calorie. I tried high fat. I tried low fat. So all of these diets that you're trying on and trying, there is no perfect diet out in the world for any individual person. You may take pieces of different diets and you'll put that together for what works for you. So I hope that makes sense. Give me a yay, that makes sense. If you want to type in there. Does that make sense? You hearing what I'm saying here? So it would be good to hear from you on there. Let's see. Okay. All right. So I'm normally go through 3 different ones, but I'm adding in a 4th one. The other thing that is really another toxic belief is that your appetite is your enemy. So a lot of people, a lot of women, they feel like because they desire food or they're hungry or they want to eat, that having an appetite, they wish they didn't want to eat or want to have food or have that desire. I want to put that one to bed. Food is wonderful. It is one of the tons of pleasures of life. Food can be just fabulous. I mean, having a wonderfully prepared, fresh gourmet meal is just one of the finest things in life as far as I'm concerned. And desiring to eat that, there's nothing wrong with that. We want to enjoy our food. Our appetite is there historically to make sure we survive as a species. It lets us know that we're hungry, that our body needs some nourishment. There's absolutely nothing with your appetite. If you didn't have an appetite at all, you probably wouldn't eat it all and then you die. So appetite is not your enemy. It's something to be embraced. What is it telling me? Now, if you had a large meal and then 20 minutes later or 30 minutes, it's like, wow, I'm really hungry again. You know what? That is your body talking to you. Your body is sending you a message that you want to start to pay attention to. Well, what the heck did I eat that my body's thinking it's still starving? Interesting question, isn't it? So when you start to reframe these what I call toxic beliefs, you start to realize that I don't need to be afraid of these things. I need to understand them. What is that telling me? Why am I feeling that way? What is my body? So, yay, thanks, funny girl. All right, perfect. So yes, our body is talking to us. It's giving us, we just need to listen. And many of us, not everyone, but many of us have stopped listening to our bodies years ago. And so we need to tune back in, listen to what our body is trying to tell us, and then we can move forward with that. Okay. All right. The next type of toxins I want to talk about is releasing toxins from our body. And when we're releasing toxins from our bodies, there's a few different things. There are quite a few things we could talk about, but I'm going to just talk about, okay, let's see. All right. There we go. Oh, thank you. Good point made on tuning in to Body with Food Connection. Great. Thank you. Appreciate that. Love the comments. Absolutely great. So the next one is toxins that are actually physically in our body. Some of these toxic things that are in our bodies is what I want to talk about right now. So I have 3 major ones that I'm going to go through. One thing is heavy metals. And I'm a little bit sensitive to heavy metals because I know that I have a lot of mercury. And so, sorry, things popping up here. Okay. So we have a lot of heavy metals that are now usually accumulate over the years. And especially if you're, have a lot of mercury dental fillings, mercury can be something that really can wreak havoc in your body. And when these toxins are in your bodies, they actually will get stored in your fat cells. And because fat cells are a storing place. So a lot of our toxicity, over the years, they'll start to, instead of going through us and we actually eliminate them, they're stored in our fat cells. So when this starts happening and you start to get to a higher level, then you're going to have some issues where you're going to say, geez, I'm eating well. I'm moving. I seem to be doing a lot of things, but for some reason, there's this big resistance going on. And I just can't seem to move things forward in a direction. You may want to take a look at heavy metals and see if that's something. Or things like mercury, lead, arsenic. I was just reading how much rice is full of arsenic. Many of the crops now have really heavy arsenic levels. So these are things for us to be aware of. There are different ways you can be tested for heavy metals now. You can do hair analysis, and then there's other type testing things to see if that's an issue. I didn't have a specific test, but I already knew. And there are also some supplements and things that you can take that help move those heavy metals out of your body. So that's something that we talk about more in the actual 9-week protocol program. And but it's something to consider. So that's just something to be aware of. And if you have an idea that maybe that's something that's there, then definitely you want to take a look at that. And later on in this program, I am going to talk about some ways to help just get rid of those things as well. Okay, so we'll talk about that. A second thing when we're talking about body toxins is we really just want to talk a lot about, I want to mention inflammation, because when we're inflamed and we have a lot of that's toxins that have accumulated in our body. So that inflammation, we want to release all of that inflammation. And we're going to do that by, number one, of course, eating a nice, clean diet, which we'll talk about at another time, what that is. But most people, if you say, what would be a clean diet? Organic, healthy, real food, nothing, overly complicated. But when you start to do that, your body will respond to that, and it will help lower that inflammation. So there are two huge foods that really cause a lot of inflammation in our bodies. And you probably already know sugar, okay? And that's sugar in all sorts of forms, okay? But excess sugar is really causing a lot of inflammation in our bodies. And that is something that we will accumulate more and more sugar, and to the point where it's floating in our blood levels, but they're also accumulating in visceral fat and things around our organs. So really important to watch our sugar consumption. And that, of course, is going to be I call them sticky carbs, as well as just, table sugar, but nobody just sits there and eats table sugar. But there's a lot of different factors, things that have sugar in it. Processed food, tons of sugar in it, tons, hidden sugars all over the place. And then the second big one is really I call them rancid oils, but there's a lot of oils that fats that are just so harmful to our bodies. You have your vegetable oils, basically your canola oils, your corn oils. A lot of them are GMOs now. They're just rancid. The processing that those oils go through when they're heated and what happens to the actual component of that oil, it's like putting rancid oil in our bodies. So bad oils, the hydrogenated, the margarines, the things like that, all the things that they told us to eat in the 70s was supposed to be good for us, 60s, 70s. We now know through science. That's why I say it's a wonderful time to be in nutrition, because all of these things, they can actually measure these things now scientifically. So it's not just guesswork, but all of these things are just deadly. They're gunking up our whole bodies, and they're causing a lot of inflammation, and you're not going to, so we want to release these things. We want to release by not only not putting them in our bodies to begin with, but whatever has accumulated there, we want to do things that will eventually release those. So, and then the last thing that I just want to mention is our microbiome. That's all those wonderful gut. I'm specifically talking about our gut microbiome right now. There's microbiome really on our skin and things like that as well. But our gut microbiome is so out of whack because of the processed foods, because of the rancid oils, that we have a lot of, if you don't know what our microbiome is, it is all of the trillions of bacteria and fungi and that live within our bodies. So our bodies actually have more cells of those than they do of our own DNA cells. So it's kind of we live with that, but there is such a harmony and beauty to what they do for us and how they help process our foods and actually keep our body nourished. But unfortunately, the way that the standard American diet is anyways, our microbiome in our gut is not balanced anymore. So we have, just to keep things simple for tonight, the good guys and the bad guys. Well, unfortunately, there's the bad guys are taking over in many cases. So that's something that we want to be aware of, that we want to talk about, and make sure that we're eating foods that are going to feed the good guys, and we're going to give them foods. So those are going to be probiotics, and then there's also prebiotics. So there's ways we can do that nutritionally, and of course, in another night this week, I'm going to talk a little bit about supplements and things as well. There's different things that we can do depending on our diet and what our individual situation is. But we want to be aware of that, because there is a connection from how balanced and we want to have a flourishing garden there in our gut. And if that is off balance, it can make you stay in that stuck zone. So that's another area that we're going to take a look at in order to balance that, so everything starts to flow again, and you'll get unstuck and you'll be able to release bad toxins that are currently in your body. So hoping that's making sense. And and then the last thing that we're going to talk about is environmental toxins. There's a lot of toxins that are in our environment. I'm going to mention some of the top ones that I think we need to really pay attention to. Our water. Unfortunately, most tap water nowadays it's not healthy enough and clean enough to drink. It's full of fluoride, and there can be lead, all sorts of things going in there. So you really want to have clean water and purified water or spring waters. Fortunately, you can go on the internet and you can look up a lot of different brands and things and really see or get good water filters. But you want to have some good water, because your body needs water. I'm not so much of one of these people that feel like, you have to, somebody's going to measure and like, oh, you have to drink, 5 gallons of water a day and live in the bathroom. But you do have to have a sufficient amount of water to make sure also that all these toxins are releasing. Another one is just air quality. Be aware of that. And, if you can have plants around, things that can help clean the air. I do travel a lot with my husband, and so we have a small little air purifier that we bring because some of the hotel rooms and things like that, they're really, the air is very, very stale. So I just put that on and to help clean the air. I'm sure it's not cleaning at 100%, but it's helping. So anything that helps, I'm taking it. It works. And then also just, I'm going to just mention the toxins that are in our actual food as well. Glyphosate is becoming a hot topic. I mean, you can hear all these sort of commercials on it, glyphosate in Roundup and things like that. It's in our food. And there's studies after studies of people that they look at their, after they passed away and things like that, they look at how much is accumulated, what's in their body. They do measurements and tests, and it's really very kind of a little bit scary, but relax, don't get freaked out about it. But there's a lot of toxicity in our foods. A lot of our food, if it's not organic, and even organic's going to have something here or there, but compared to regular crops, GMOs, and things like that, we really, really have to up the quality of the foods because there's just a lot of chemicals and especially the glyphosate in our food as well. So that's the other area that we really, really want to be aware to get rid of those environment toxins. And then the last one is really, or the last two would be our skincare. It's really now known that a lot of the phthalates and things that are in products that we slather all over our skin is our largest detoxifier. Okay. So if we're putting all those things, our skin is absorbing that, and we upset the balance of the microbiome that's on our skin as well. And the more that you do that, and everybody has different levels of sensitivity, but why do you even want to put it on your body? Like I don't want to put anything that's going to add to my toxic load. I hope that makes sense. So look for products in your skincare, more natural products. Fortunately, more and more are coming out now. It used to be maybe 10 years ago that if you wanted something that was really a healthy skincare product, it was just hundreds of dollars. It was crazy. But now there's so much available that you should be able to, but just watch for those things. You want to definitely do that as much as possible. Your deodorants as well. I've gone to an all natural deodorant now. I started that probably 5-6 years ago. So I know that these things have made me feel better. Can I pinpoint exactly which one? Not necessarily, but overall, I know that they've all helped. And that is what has started me to be able to release my own weight, which is exciting. So these are hints for you to do. And watch your cleaning supplies, your laundry supplies, the things that you're cleaning, when you're spraying all this toxic chemicals in your home, you're breathing all of that in as well. And you're touching it, you're breathing it in. So you want to be aware of those things. Anything that will reduce the toxins that are going to settle into your body, then you have to figure out how to get them out. So if we don't put them there to begin with, that's one less thing that we have to worry about. So I hope that makes sense. And those are the things we're going to talk about as far as releasing the second R in the 3R protocol. So I just want to wrap up because I don't like to really go too much over 45 minutes. And just as what's coming up, tomorrow we're going to be talking about replenishing. How do we replenish? Okay, so we've relaxed, we're releasing all of these toxins. Well, how do we actually replenish our bodies and our lives and our health? And that's what we're going to talk about tomorrow. And then after that, we'll be talking about the next night, we'll talk about all the confusions in the different diet trends. And I'm going to talk about just busting through those confusions and going through some of the main ones. And, there's some good in all of them. So I'll go through all of those. That will be that. And then finally, we're going to be going through our fifth session would be creating some breakthroughs, some little tips and tricks. It's sort of a tip and trick night, and that we can do that helps kind of just push some things forward. So I'll be talking about a bunch of those things. And then our question and answer will be Saturday, and that will be at 10 a.m. I forgot to say that yesterday. So 10 a.m., some questions and answers. So I'm hoping that during this week that you will be emailing me or putting comments below the videos and ask me questions. I want to answer your questions. So if something is unclear, you're not sure what I mean, you have a certain issue or something you want to see if I have some direction for that, just let me know. And we'll answer those questions on Saturday. That'll probably just be a fairly quick, maybe like 30 minutes. That's why I'd love to have the questions ahead of time, so I can just address them very quickly. Saturday mornings, we're all busy, and I know people want to move on with the day. So I don't want that to be a long session, but it'll be 10 o'clock. And then next Monday night, kind of wrapping everything up, some takeaways, some action steps to take right away that I feel could move you towards better health, which is our goal, and feeling fabulous. And if losing weight is part of that, of course, then that as well. So thank you so much for being here tonight. I really appreciate you attending, and I hope all of this has been helpful so far. Certainly, I'm so excited to share it with you. And my email is info@feelfabulousnutrition.com, and you can email me there. Or, of course, you're already in the Facebook group. You can post any comments there, or my regular Facebook page as well. Thank you so much. Have a great night, everybody. Bye-bye.